Oh, sorry I'm taking forever to go through this book review. I definitely am taking my time on it. I'm enjoying reading it and giving you my thoughts. Hopefully you guys are still interested. If you want me to continue doing the book, I'm only on chapter 7 here. Do you want me to continue doing the review, or is it too late? Like, is it too old of news? You want me to just move on? Because actually this video right here, I recorded I recorded this probably like 3 weeks ago. I'm just now editing it because I did some videos before I actually edited this one. So just let me know if you want me to continue doing, doing the reviews chapter by chapter until I'm done. And I'm going to intermix it with other cases though, because I'm going to start covering some other cases. Or if you just want me to focus on other cases and just forget about finishing the book review. I don't know. It's whatever you guys prefer. I'd be more than happy to finish going through it. Like I said, I'm only on chapter 7 on my video review. Sorry it's taken me so long. I keep not putting it off, but I keep doing other videos ahead of it. So like I said, I recorded this a while back. I do want to move on to other cases, so I'm taking recommendations or ideas on what other cases. I know I've said this before, and then you guys give me ideas, and then half the time I don't get to many of your ideas, and I'm sorry. I'm trying. It's kind of time consuming, but I kind of got sucked back into the whole Watts zone here. I was about ready to move on, and then the new book came out and his confession and all this new news, and it's like, and then Cindy's books, or I don't even know, I guess they were start of books that she changed her mind on or something. I don't know. I'm a little confused about that, but I never did make it out of the whole Watts case, but I do want to. So okay, so let me get into this video. Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Okay, so I'm still continuing with letters from Christopher. So I'm actually on the end of chapter 6. So my last video I didn't even finish the whole chapter because I rambled on. Sorry, and thank you guys for being so supportive and sticking by me. And so I'm going to finish up chapter 6 and then see how far I get. Okay, so we ended with, I was talking about how I really think that on July 14th is when NK actually found out that Shanann was pregnant, okay? Remember, she went outside, she was all upset. It said she sat out in her car for 30 minutes, she was all upset. I noticed, actually in the book it says truck. Remember I made that video explaining, because people were like, is it a car, truck, SUV? In the book they call it a truck. So anyway, I noticed that. I'm like, hey, they're using the word truck in the book, or Shanann uses the word truck, whether it's because that's how Chris, when Chris was telling her the story, or he was writing it in the letter that he used truck. I don't know. But in the book they use truck. Okay, so I just wanted to point that out. I thought that was kind of funny because people getting on me when I originally said car, and then when I said truck, they said, it's SUV. Well, all those people, you better write to Shanann or Chris and tell them it was SUV. I'm just joking, guys. I just thought it was funny. I wanted to point it out. Okay, so she comes back in after 30 minutes of texting Chris in her truck or slash SUV. But anyway, so she tells Chris that she has never met a man before that tries to fix problems, tries to, talk things out and try to work through problems, and tries to fix them, tries to actually communicate and fix them. But the sad thing is he didn't do that with Shanann. So what the heck? He does it with her, but he didn't try to work things out with Shanann. So I wonder if when he first started seeing Shanann, if he was like this with her, where he tried to, work through problems, talk and fix problems and talk through it, smooth it over, as she says, or whatever. So wonder if he was like that at the beginning in the love bombing stage, and when he was trying to win Shanann over, and then they say, once they, they have them, they don't have to act that way anymore. They already have them in their clutches, so they don't have to
try to win him over anymore. So I'm just curious if this was unique to how he was with NK, or if, because remember how he said with Shanann, he said, oh, he was always so nervous, and he was so, he didn't know what, so scared to talk and nervous to talk with Shanann. She made him so nervous. He said he was nervous to even eat in front of her. So I'm just wondering if, okay, is this, because we know, at least towards the end, he didn't, well, probably for a while, because the way Shanann describes it, how he's always in his head, he doesn't want to talk about things when things bother him, he just goes into his head, he just needs to work it out in his head. So this has probably been going on for quite a while. But was it ever, do you guys think, in your opinion, which I don't know the answer to this, but do you think at the beginning with Shanann that it was ever like this, where he actually tried to talk things out with Shanann? Or do you think this is just something that he did with NK, because maybe NK knew how to kind of manipulate him and knew what it was about Shanann that bothered Chris, so NK made sure she was like the opposite, or he did things like, let's say he tells Shanann, or he tells NK, yeah, I'm so nervous to even give my opinion around Shanann, I'm so nervous to, disagree with her, or to tell her what's bothering me. So then NK hears that, so then she uses that to manipulate him by making sure that he feels so comfortable, and that he will talk things over with her, and that he basically, I don't know what her techniques were, or how she got him to feel like that comfortable, and that, for him to want to always communicate what's in his head. Or was it because it was that love bombing stage, so he had to win her over, so do you see what I'm saying here? So I'm not sure. I guess I'm just wondering if he was like that with Shanann at first, or is this something kind of unique to his relationship with NK, about him actually communicating and talking things out? Because we know at the end of that, for a while, he was not like that with Shanann. I mean, we could tell by her text, that's just wasn't his trait. That's not how he was. He withdrew inside of his head. When he was a problem, he withdrew, and he worked it out in his head, like he said. So I spoke too soon. Okay, so it even goes on to say that he thought, ironically, he never tried to do that with Shanann. Like I was saying, he never was like that. But he says he knew that she probably wouldn't listen to him. But then he realized that he never gave her a chance. So it's almost like he's, I don't know. I mean, I guess he's just saying, he's not, that's not fair for him to say that, because for him not to give her a chance and then just say, oh, yeah, she probably wouldn't listen to me anyway, that's not fair on her part. Well, let her. I think she definitely would listen. I think she was yearning. She was wanting that communication so bad from him. You could tell, like, she wanted that. You could tell that's one thing that she wished that he would do, is communicate with her. So why was he thinking that she wouldn't listen to him? That was the way he coped, when there was an issue, or when something was bothering him. It was probably like a coping mechanism that he developed in childhood. Like, instead of talking things out, he always just withdrew inside his head and always worked it and made sense in his head about whatever the issue is. So whatever it was, I don't know why it was different with NK, what made him, act so out of his normal way of dealing with things. I mean, maybe she pushed for it, like she saw that about him, that okay, this is something that he wishes he had with Shanann, so she, forced it out of him. I'm not sure, maybe the way she manipulated him, that she made him feel so super comfortable, where she got him to want to talk things out. Whatever, I'm not sure exactly, but this wasn't his normal way of dealing with things. So
I just wanted to add this after really thinking about, narcissist and Chris being a narcissist. It made me kind of realize maybe why he was different with Shanann compared to how he was with NK. As far as, with Shanann, he didn't talk things out, and he kept things in his head and kept things to himself and didn't try to work things out. And with NK, he did that. I'm thinking maybe because You know how a narcissist thinks and operates? They try to become what they think the other person, their victim, wants them to be. You know, like the perfect partner, that whoever they're with, what they think that they want them to be like. So they try to act like they're this person. So they try to form and act like they are what they think that their victim wants their partner to be, like the perfect partner, like whatever the traits that the narcissist feels that the victim wants in a relationship. And then they pretend to be that person. They pretend to have those characteristics and those traits. Whoever their victim is and what they think they want out of a relationship, and you know, kind of their characteristics and how they deal with things and just what they would expect out of a relationship. So they try to form and pretend and mimic and be what they think the person that they're with wants them to be. So for Shanann, he even says that remark that he says, well, I don't think she would have listened to me anyway. Whether or not she would have or not, that's just how he is seeing Shanann. So it's all about what he thinks. So he thinks Shanann doesn't want to listen to him and doesn't want to talk things out and would rather him keep his opinion to himself. So I feel like maybe he's thinking that's what she prefers. And, you know, after kind of thinking about that and how he said, well, she wouldn't have listened to me anyway, maybe he really did feel that way. Maybe he did feel that the way she was, that she wouldn't want that she would rather him keep his opinion to himself and just agree with everything she says. Not that I'm saying that she really was like that, but that's how he saw her. So when he, you know, disagreed or had an issue with her, he withdrew into himself because that's how he thought she wanted him to react. You know, he thought that, and that's probably what he did with his mom too. So he kind of probably knew that part to play really good, and maybe that's why he picked a woman like Shanann, because he knew that part. I'm not saying Shanann is like Chris's mom in a lot of ways. In a lot of ways, she's so different, like totally different. Shanann is, you know, positive and happy and just not, there's so many differences between them, but I'm talking about just kind of more the alpha type personality, the dominant woman, the one that is in charge and makes the decisions and is just the more dominant personality. And that's what I mean by that. So I hope you guys don't take that the wrong way that I said that. He knew how to play that part and how to play the opposite of a female like that. You just keep your opinion to yourself. You act like you agree. Remember how he said, you know, he would smile to himself because he knew what he really thought. You know, so he wasn't really being honest on who he was. He was just pretending that, or actually I should say, he was just acting the way he thought that she wanted him to act. Like I said, whether or not that's true, that's just how he was seeing her, and that's what he thought she wanted. I mean, this is just my opinion, of course. And then with NK, she was different because she actually wanted him to talk things out, and that's how he viewed her in a relationship. Like, he realized, okay, she wants to talk things out. She wants me to give my opinion. So that's why he even made remarks like, oh, she was different. She actually wanted to hear my opinion. She actually wanted to hear what I thought and, you know, what I like. So he viewed her like that. Whether he was right on his perceptions of NK or Shanann, who knows? But I'm just saying, in his perception, in his reality, Shanann didn't want him to share his opinion and didn't want him to disagree or argue with him. Now that I'm saying in his perception, and NK wanted to talk things out and wanted him to share his opinion and work things out and communicate better. So for some reason, I don't know why he was perceiving Shanann as not wanting that, because I doubt that she didn't want him to communicate, but for some reason he was thinking that she didn't want that she'd rather him just keep quiet and keep his thoughts to himself. And maybe he thought that and was like that because of the way his mom was and the way he grew up and that's how he was with his mom, and that's the way his mom wanted him to act. So he got kind of used to thinking that that's a woman or those type of women. I don't want to put her in the same group as Cindy, but I'm talking about, those dominant alpha type women. He just kind of grouped them together and thought, well, Shanann must want this too, because that's how that's just how he got used to acting with his mom, and his mom actually did want him to act like that. So maybe that's why he just kind of thought that's the way Shanann wanted him to act too. Like I said, I recorded this like 3 weeks ago, and maybe even longer than 3 weeks ago. I don't even know how. It was a while ago, and now, okay, back to my original video.
So then it says that Nikki just, like nothing ever happened, just says, hey, come to my house. Like invited him to her house that night to stay the night. Like he said, it was just like nothing ever happened. So they went back to their house and made love, he said. So I wonder, like I said, I really think that was the day she found out Shanann was pregnant. So I wonder, is this when they started planning, or did she have something to do with this plan? Was she planning with Chris about getting rid of Nico? Did she maybe throw up some remarks that got him thinking about this and thinking, like maybe I wanted to give you your first son. Well, what can I give you now? Like this, I don't know. Who knows? Maybe threatening, like, well, fine. I don't have anything to offer you. I don't think I could see you anymore. Giving him an ultimatum. Basically saying maybe like, okay, well then we're done. There's no use for me. And something that made him think that was the only option. Like originally, whether it was just to get rid of Nico or maybe he was trying to get her to overdose, I don't know. But let's say initially it was just to get rid of Nico, then for him to have thought that was the only option to be with her. Did he say something to her for him to think that was the only option if he wanted to be with her, is that he had to get rid of Nico? And then it turned into he had to get rid of his family. I'm not sure. I mean, I guess, like I said, will we ever know? Maybe not. So they went back to her house, made love. And it says, she tried for it to be passionate and hot and just sexy like they normally would do, and she tried to do things that normally would turn him on, but it was just different that time. So why was it different? You're telling me because she saw these pictures of your family and it was different? She saw those pictures months ago. Remember, you said you showed her pictures of your family like when you were at work. She knew you were married the whole time. So what is so different that even sex was off and felt weird? What was so different? Because she just found out Shanann was pregnant. I'm telling you, I really feel so strongly. Because why? I mean, all these, why would just that have so much effect when it didn't bother her before? She knew he had a family. It didn't bother her. All of a sudden she sees pictures. I don't buy that. It had to be something more. It had to be something more. And what else would it be? She found out Shanann was pregnant. And that's why the lovemaking just felt different. It was just different because she realized, wow, his wife is pregnant. Like, it makes so much more sense. So, and then it says he felt the guilt rush back in. So then it says that he felt like he didn't even want to be there at NK's house. And it says they normally would have sex 3 to 4 times a day. And then listen to this. It says after that happened, she said their sex was down to only 1 to 2 times daily. After what happened? See what I'm saying? Something happened that day, because they're referring to that day. It can't just be that she saw a picture of his family. That's no different. That's no new information than she knew from the beginning. Something had to have happened that day. She found out Shanann was pregnant. I'm telling you, that is what happened. I mean, I guess I shouldn't say it like that because I don't know 100%, but it's gotta be. Something big had to have happened that day for it to have changed everything. And then it says, when they were done making love, she told him that she got mad at him because she wanted to give him his first son. And when he told her that, him and Shanann were trying to have a baby, that she got really mad and it scared her. But I think it was more than just that they were trying. Because he even said, supposedly he told her it was before he met NK, so why would that upset her as much as it did? I really believe that it was not just that they were trying to have a baby, but that she knew that Shanann was pregnant. And I know we all figured that she probably knew, but I'm saying that Chris knew that she knew. Like that was what their fight was about on the 14th. That is what I'm really thinking. So for some reason, that made Chris feel much more confident in the relationship with her. Why? I don't know. He's saying because she got, well, I guess because she got upset because she thought that she could give him his first son. So wait, I have a question. Is that the first time she even brought up that she wanted to give him his first son, when he told her that whether it was that him and Shanann were trying to have a baby or that Shanann was pregnant, whichever one, either way, at least he told her they were trying to have a baby. I really think he told her, or she found out somehow with something she saw that day that, that she was pregnant. But is that when she first brought up that she wanted to give him his son then, after that whole thing? So she heard that, so she's like, oh, I wanted to give you your first son, because now she probably realized, whoa, if she's pregnant, man, I'm definitely going to lose here. I'm not going to win him over. So she offers, saying she wants to give him his first son. Is that when she told him? So I wonder if she said that because she knew, like, she had to offer him something big for him to want to stay, because whether, like I said, if she just find out about Shanann being pregnant, or at least that they were trying to have a baby. So she realized she had to offer something big. So I think isn't that when she really, when she actually first told him that she wanted to give him a son? And that's maybe what he's talking about when he said that made me feel much more confident in his relationship with her, because when she said, man, I thought I could give you your first son. So is that when he started, the wheels started turning and he started thinking that he needed to get rid of the baby and make Shanann miscarry? Or do you think it actually really did start out with him wanting to just terminate the baby rather than kill her? Or do you think that Oxy was to get, to possibly get Shanann to overdose? Because I still think that's just not a good choice if you're trying to get at, make somebody miscarry. Just seems kind of odd. So I think that's what he was referring to when he said, this made him feel much more confident in his relationship with NK about her wanting to give her his first son. So then they talk about how they went to the Bandamere races on July 21st, and they went camping on July 28th and 29th. Okay, so now we're on chapter 7, finally. So it talks about when Chris was at the airport waiting to leave for North Carolina, how Nikki was texting him, telling him to work on his marriage with Shanann, which I don't buy that at all. Come on, you're telling me that you tell Chris that you want to have his son. Okay, wait, let's back up here. If we were to believe NK that on the 14th at her house, that what she really was upset with is she realized, oh my God, you have a beautiful family. Why do you want to give all this up? This is when you start telling them, oh, you got to fix go fix this, go work on this. But then that night you tell him you want to have his son? How does that, what? So the same night that supposedly you realize that you say that you realize that he needs to work, he needs to fix this because he's got something beautiful, his family, he can't give this all up. You need to go fix this with Shanann. But that same night you're going to go tell him you want to have his son. No, I don't buy that. See, I think the 14th is when you found out Shanann was pregnant, and you needed to offer something big, because you knew I need to offer something big to keep him, because what do I have to offer? Like, she's pregnant, she's going to probably give him, I don't know if on the 14th they didn't know it was a boy yet on the 14th. But just in, she's giving him another kid, possibly a boy, the son that he always wanted. There's no way that you were telling him to go fix his marriage in the same breath telling him that you want to have his son. Well, that doesn't even make sense. That does not even make sense. And then, going away with him weekends after that and make love to him that night, that 14th, supposedly the same night that you tell him that you can't give all this up. You need to go work, try to work this out. No, you are a liar. You are a liar. There's no way. I'm not buying it. And then, you go away with him the next couple weekends, and then supposedly, where are those texts, by the way? Where are those texts where why would you erase those texts, where you're telling him to fix his issues with his wife? And whether, if you did really text that, take this time to fix your issues with your wife when he was waiting at the airport to go to North Carolina and enjoy your time with your family. If you did really text that, let's say you did text that to him, that was some kind of manipulation. That you didn't really mean that. So if you really did, you were just messing with him, because there's no way you really wanted him to fix issues with his wife. There's no way. Then you're sending him, half naked pictures while he's there with his family. If you really wanted him to fix issues, I know we've said this a million times already, but yeah, I mean, it's said a million times because it doesn't make sense. That's why, because there's so many people that realize that it just doesn't make sense. So whether this was a manipulation technique somehow, you saying this and then, sending them these naked pictures. It says these texts that texted about, go fix issues with your wife and enjoy time with your family. It's saying that it gave Chris a warm feeling, and there was no pressure, okay, she's not mad, no pressure, NK's not upset, I'm with Shanann, I'm going to be spending, a week with Shanann, and he loved NK for that, for, not putting any pressure on him. So it says the first night Chris arrived in North Carolina is when he gave Shanann the 80 milligram of oxycodone. And it's, made her sick. She was up vomiting. She was sick. Remember, we were reading you could read the text. She was sick. She was having a reaction to this. And now it makes sense. At first, before this all came out, I just thought, morning sickness or, something from the pregnancy or whatever. But now it makes sense. It was because he gave her this Oxycontin. So, and it says he didn't even help her. So that's why, remember, she was like, man, he's usually attentive. He's acting like he's not even paying attention. He doesn't even care that I'm sick. And how sad is that? Like, she's sick over there because he drugged her. And plus she's pregnant and he's not even helping her. He's just totally ignoring her. And this is somebody that normally would have been like helping her, so somebody that normally was very attentive and pretending to care. Now that we know who he is, obviously he was pretending that he cared, but for her, she didn't know. So somebody that usually would help her, and he's totally ignoring her. She hasn't even seen him in a month, and he's not only not even talking to her and paying attention to her and act like he didn't even miss her, and now she's sick and he doesn't even care, and she's pregnant with his baby. It is so sad. And it says that he felt that he gave her a large enough dose to miscarry. Where did he get this information? Where can you find that it says Oxycontin or oxycodone, either or, would cause a miscarriage? Why would he even think that would? Especially just one time, why would he think that would? Even multiple times, that wouldn't be something that you would think would typically cause a miscarriage. So, was he trying to kill her there? Was he trying to get her to overdose? Because you could overdose, on Oxycontin. You get the respiratory depression, where a lot of people say from opiates, for instance, you have a little bit, maybe a high dose of opiates, and then you go to sleep, and you get respiratory depression and you die in your sleep. That, I mean, that could have happened. It really could have. So I could see him looking up that and seeing that, okay. And somebody doesn't even need to actually fall asleep. I mean, you could overdose, not even fall asleep. But if you do fall asleep, you know, it could be a little bit easier to have that. Like, I mean, you could just take a really high dose and just overdose. But I think the chances are it would be more likely that when she went to bed, she fell asleep, that she could have had some kind of respiratory depression and never woke up. So if you look that up online, there's more chances you would see that than it would cause a miscarriage. So it does make you wonder. I know there's been, videos out there where people were speculating where maybe he was actually trying to, kill her, and either he's really dumb or he got some really bad advice and somebody told him that OxyContin would cause a miscarriage, which is not good information, or he was lying and he was actually trying to get her to overdose. And then he texts NK and says that he won't be able to call her, he could just text her. So why does, I don't understand, if he's not even taking care of Shanann and he's just ignoring her anyway, why wouldn't he be able to call NK that night? I mean, he called her the other days where he just stepped outside. It's not like he was taking care of her. So what would that have to do with him not being able to call her? I don't know. I mean, unless it's, I don't know. It just doesn't make sense because he was ignoring her. He wasn't trying to help Shanann. So why was he like, oh, I can't call you right now? He called her other days. He stepped outside. So I don't know. Is that a sign? Like, or should we look into that more? Was he saying, I won't be able to call her, just text her? Was that like I don't know. I mean, maybe it was just, I don't know why he would say that. Like, why he made a point to tell her, I won't be able to call you, I can just text you that night. And then it says, she asked, why are you with her? And he says, I guess that comment right there, why are you with her? That put the pressure back on him because he thought she wanted him to spend time with his family. So why is he questioning whether he's with her and why he can't talk to her if she really wanted him to spend time with his family? It says the next 8 days he ignored his wife. So is this, now this is Sherilyn writing this, so is this something that Chris relayed to her? Like, did he tell her, oh, the next 8 days I ignored my wife? Or is this her research going into it? That's why I honestly wish she would have just included the letter so we could see which information she's getting directly from Chris, or which information is she getting from other sources, other research, the Discovery, any other information out there, and which information is she kind of just putting her own thoughts and opinions and, kind of analysis, or however you want to word it, but she's putting her own perspective, her own perceptions on, what she's getting from him and what she knows, and she's just kind of forming her own thoughts. But because she doesn't put any of these letters in here, we are left to wonder, well, which things are coming directly from Chris and which things are coming from speculation and what you think and your opinion, and so it does, I really wish she would have added them in there so we know. So it says, so when Shanann would want sex, he would leave the room. So at night he would leave the room. He wasn't intimate with her the entire week. He said that he felt like he had to do this. I'm going to talk about now back to him not being intimate with her the whole week because he felt like he had to do this so he could go and talk to NK for hours. So he left and talked to her for hours when he was in North Carolina. And then this part I already talked about on my first videos about the book when I only had a few random pages. But when he gets back to Colorado, he goes to visit NK using his work truck, it says, and that NK gives Chris the key to her apartment, which it meant, it points out that NK withheld that information from the FBI. But to Chris, this meant, wow, she was ready to take the next step in our relationship. So it made him feel good, and it made him feel probably pressure, I would think, like, whoa, my wife don't even know, like, I have 2 kids. My wife thinks we're going to work this out. She's giving me the key. She's ready for the next step. Chris feels all this pressure, like he needs to make a move. I'm not giving him an excuse. Don't take this the wrong way. I'm not giving him an excuse. He gets no excuses. I'm just trying to better understand it. So when I say these reasons, I'm not giving him excuses, but obviously there's reasons why he did what he did. It's not excuses. So please don't misunderstand me, because he made his choices. There's no excuses. I'm just trying to better understand why. So when she gives him the key, he tells her, okay, I'm moving forward with the separation. And he promises NK that the relationship is going to end with Shanann. So, but it says he had not yet talked to Shanann about the separation. So he's getting the key. NK's, really moving, taking this serious, taking the next step. And Chris still hasn't even told Shanann that he is going to separate, like, that it's a for sure thing. So Shanann still thinks they're going to fix the marriage. They're going to work on it. They're going to go to counseling. They're going to go to Aspen for that weekend away the next weekend. She still has this hope. It's already gone. Like, he's already discarded her, but he just needs a way to tell her. But he's a coward and can't even tell her. So his only option is to kill her, because he's such a freaking coward. He can't even just be a man and tell her. He has to just kill her. It's just... So, I'm talking about how Shanann ordered that book, hoping that they could fix that marriage. Remember how she ordered her book, and then she ordered Chris the book, and he just threw it away in the trash. And then it adds that this is when Christopher realized that he cannot have NK and his family at the same time. Why did he realize that? What does that have to do with anything? Is he talking about when he got the book he realized that? Why that day? Why is he saying that's when he realized it? Does it have anything to do with the book? I mean, it's not... I don't understand what she's trying to say. Is she saying that when he got that book he realized that that's the day he cannot have NK and his family? And it was the first time he realized that? Well, why? Why would that... What's the significance here? Did something else happen that day? Or is he talking about the day? Is that the same day that she gave him a key? So I think it was more, this is when she was in Arizona, so he just knew. He had this planned. He knew, when she got back, this is what he had to do. So he says that about him having his nerve up, but it wasn't the nerve to tell Shanann about what was going on and to talk to his wife. It was the nerve to kill her. Yeah. For some reason now it's going back to their time in North Carolina, Myrtle Beach. I'm not sure. I don't know. The way it kind of jumps around, it doesn't have, I don't know. It's not flowing very good. Okay, so it went, so it was out, he got back from Colorado. She gives him a key. Shanann sends when Shanann goes to Arizona, she has that book sent to him. Chris throws it away. He realizes that he can't have NK and his family at the same time. And then it jumps back to North Carolina and that little family vacation at Myrtle Beach. Not sure why it chose to jump forward and then jump back, but oh well, let's just go with it. So he's saying like that they had a little fun little vacation at Myrtle Beach that they went to for a couple days, and I guess Chris was thinking, well, see, I don't know if it's her thinking this, is this Sherilyn thinking this, or is this Chris thinking this, that Shanann may have thought if they got away together for a few nights that they could talk things out and make things better. So, I don't know, is this Sherilyn's thoughts or Chris's thoughts? I'm not really liking how this is, put together, because you don't know which parts are his thoughts and which parts are Sherilyn's. What parts are coming from her, what parts are coming from him. It's not very clear. So anyway, Shanann may have thought that if they got away together for a few nights, she tried to talk things out when they were in Myrtle Beach, but By his account, okay, there we go. It says by his account, she really wanted to talk, but he didn't give her any time to talk. I tried to even work anything out because he didn't have no desire to, you know. So he's being very selfish, like he is. He's a selfish person because, yeah, he's way more than selfish. But is saying like the only reason he was there for the girls, not for Shanann. Bull crap, he wasn't even there for the girls. Are you kidding me? There's no way he was there for the girls and then he could do that to them. No, he could care less about the girls. I really believe that. He had no feelings to them he had no feelings for them because I don't see how he could if he did that. I really don't. You know, I guess if he would have killed himself, then maybe I could think that, okay, it makes more sense to me when people, let's say not that it makes sense that it makes sense, but what I'm saying is that, let's say somebody kills their family and then kills himself, and if they claim how much they love their family, then it makes more sense that maybe they did love their family, but in a weird, sick way, but, you know, they killed them, you know, and they kill themselves maybe in a weird way to be with him in the afterlife or whatever they think. But the fact that if they killed themselves, then it makes more sense. Maybe they did actually care about their family. But the fact that Chris killed his family but didn't kill himself, so he wanted to live this life without them, he didn't care about them. So it says, you know, how he didn't have any patience with the girls and how they were, you know, getting on his nerves, and which is very out of character for Chris. But maybe it was exactly in character with Chris. But see, Chris always felt that way, but he was able to hide it and pretend and put that mask on like he was okay, and they didn't get on his nerves, but maybe it always did. It always got on his nerves. But now he doesn't care. He doesn't care to hide it anymore. He's letting his true self show because he could care less. He doesn't want them anymore. He doesn't care. He doesn't need to keep them for his supply or whatever. Like, he's gonna be discarding them, so he doesn't need to put up this front and to put on this mask and pretend that he cares and pretend that it doesn't bother him. He's just being himself, and himself, it really does get on his nerves. He doesn't have patience. He could care less, you know. So I feel like it wasn't necessarily out of character for him. It was more in character than he normally is. Like, that was more of his true feelings and his true self than what he normally was pretending to be. So he just didn't care to hide it anymore. You know, it takes more energy to try to hide it than just to be, you know, who you are. And he didn't need to pretend anymore. So, because he didn't need them anymore. He didn't worry about trying to keep them anymore. So it says even his 3- and 4-year-old girl's spirits noticed the darkness in him. So it says that Belle and Celeste even noticed that something was off with him. Of course, it says dark spirit, because you know the whole theme of this whole book was this demon possession and these dark spirits and something that was out of his control. Something was controlling him. It wasn't him. So it says they're pure spirits, talking about Bella and Celeste. Pure spirits could see or sense his dark spirit. So it's talking about how they didn't want to hold his hand. They didn't want to walk with him. They didn't want to play with him. Just, you know, stuff they would normally do, they didn't want to do. Normally they would love playing with her dad, but they didn't want to because they could sense that. So he wasn't, because he didn't try to hide it anymore. He was showing his true self, and they didn't like what they were seeing. It wasn't no dark spirit. That was just him. That was him without the mask on, which is a very dark and evil person. And they seen that. They got to see who their dad really is without his mask and pretending to be somebody that he's not. And they didn't like it. They didn't like what they saw. They didn't want anything to do with him. And of course, you know, Shanann's saying it's the first time that he ever felt like that about his kids. But I don't buy that, because I feel like that was just him, and without his mask, without pretending. So he's always felt like that about his kids. It's the first time that he let them see who he really was. But I do agree with the children can see things sometimes that adults cannot. I agree with that statement. Next paragraph is back to the when they're back in Colorado. So it says the first day back from North Carolina, when he left NK's, because remember, he went to NK's after work. That's the day she gave him the key. He goes to her house, and he had to hurry to meet Shanann for an ultrasound. Remember, Nicole Atkinson was watching the kids, was going to watch the kids when they went to the ultrasound. Remember, Nicole said how Chris was late. He came home and he didn't even say hi to Nicole, which was odd. He didn't even acknowledge she was there. He just was acting kind of weird. He was acting upset, kind of like he just didn't even want to be there. He was late. So, after work, he went to NK's that day. So, and I think that was the day, didn't he stopped off at that dealership to pick up that paint for NK's car, I guess. I don't know. It was from the Toyota dealership, I guess. He picked up paint and he brought it to NK. She gave him the key. Says, I'm pretty sure she even says that they have sex that day. And then he tells Chris to get home, go home and spend time with your kids or whatever. So he leaves. He's late he's late getting home. They go to the ultrasound. So it talks about what should have been, a good, a joyous and just a special moment or special time for Chris and Shanann, and it wasn't. It was horrible. Well, for poor Shanann, I mean, it says that he had this hatred for her and the baby. It says Shanann reached out to take his hand for support, and he pulled it away. Can you imagine the loneliness and the just how much that had to have hurt? Like, this should be like a. Okay, so I just been talking to myself for over an hour now because here my video stopped recording about an hour ago because I have it plugged in. Well, I thought I had it plugged in, but it must have somehow slipped out of the charger and it died. The camera died, so I'm going on talking, thinking that it's been recording. I finish it up, I go over and I see this black screen. I'm like, what the heck? Why is the camera off? It died, so I have to try to redo this last hour, or maybe not an hour, but I'm just gonna try to. Actually, it's getting so late and I'm so tired right now that I'm just gonna probably have to, do some of it today and some of it tomorrow, or just end it early and just make another video another time. But okay, so where I think I picked up, or I left off where Shanann, they were at the ultrasound, and what should have been like a awesome special moment between her and Chris turns into like this just horrible experience for her, because she goes to grab his hand and he pulls it away. He pulls it away in the ultrasound, which should be like this thing where, he should be supporting her and it should be special, and he pulls away his hand. Freaking jerk. Oh, when I hear things like that, it just makes me so mad at him. It just, I don't know. I don't know. It just, can you imagine how that had to have felt for her? Like her, she's pregnant with his baby, hoping, at this time they don't know if it's a son or a daughter, but either way, it's their kid they made together, and she goes to reach for his hand. Can you imagine how that had to make her feel? So, and as they're watching this ultrasound, they're seeing this miracle that they created. They're seeing their son move around in the ultrasound, and he pulls away from her like that. So anyway, so he went back to work. So Shanann gave the envelope with the gender to Nicole Atkinson, and they were going to have this gender reveal party. But when they realized that, she realized that Chris was just, obviously not happy. He's just being a jerk. It was just going to be weird to have this party, when he obviously wasn't even happy about it. So they canceled the party. And Shanann ends up calling Nicole and saying, bring the envelope over, I want to know the gender. Nicole brings it over, find out it's a boy. So she texts Chris, hey, do you want to know the gender? Chris texts back, yes. So that, Shanann is happy that, okay, wow, he's interested, he cares. So she texts him back how much she loves him, and he doesn't even respond. Freaking jerk. So later she tries to hug him and hold him, and he pulls away, he refuses. But then she does say that they do talk a little bit, which she's happy about, because before he wouldn't even talk to her at all. So she thinks, okay, maybe now that he knows, that we're having a son, maybe that helps. So now he's talking a little bit, which I don't know, is this coming from Sherilyn or him? But it says, however, he was trying to make things work for his advantage. He was thinking about killing her and the girls. So are they saying that he's trying to, that's the reason he was talking to her a little bit, because he was trying to make that work to his advantage to help him to be able to kill them? I don't understand what that's implying right there. And did Chris tell Sherilyn this? Or where is she? Okay, Sherilyn's saying this in her book, but is this coming from something Chris said? I don't know. That's why I wish I knew which ones were coming from Chris or what's coming from her own thoughts, okay? So, whatever, I don't know. He was trying to make things work for his advantage, Dylan. I don't know whether he told her that or she just, Sherilyn's just kind of putting it into her words or how she feels about her perception of what's going on by everything she knows, or is it something he said? I don't even know. But why is that? How is that going to make things work for his advantage? I mean, I don't understand. She says, however, he was trying to make things work for his advantage. He was thinking about killing her and the girls. So whatever sense you want to make out of that. So that's why he was talking to her. Because that comes right after where he says, she said they were talking some, so she thought things were a little better since he found out the baby was a boy. But then, however, he was trying to make things work for his advantage. He was thinking about killing her and the girls. What? I don't know. So he's trying to make talking to her a little bit for his advantage to help kill the girls. I'm not really even sure what that means, but I'm going to move on here. So it says later that evening, they were getting ready for bed, and Shanann questioned him what happened in the doctor's office when they're having the ultrasound. She said, well, what happened? Why'd you pull away? He told her that, once again, it's all about him. Oh, well, my head is just not right. I just can't deal with you right now. He tells her he just can't deal with her right now. He's just not in the right place. And then he goes and he's like, I'm sleeping on the couch. So he sleeps on the couch. And what does he do? He waits for her to go to bed and he calls NK. Oh, whoa, wait, let me back up. So when he says he's sleeping on the couch, she supposedly says, whatever is going on or whoever she is, know that you will never see the kids again. So make sure she is worth it. So whether she said it or not, I don't blame her if she would have said it after the way he was acting. Now, did she really mean that she was going to keep the kids from him? No, I don't believe that. People say things in the heat of the moment. That's something some of you say that you're just angry. They're trying to get to you. They're trying to get you to respond. Somehow just respond. Somehow react. Somehow, So she says that. Maybe. I mean, we don't know for sure, but he said she said that. And I don't have any reason to believe that she didn't say that. It does seem like something somebody might say in that situation. They're upset and they say that. Like I said, do I think that she would ever have kept the kids from him? No, I don't. There's no way. She would have. I don't see that at all. People say that kind of stuff. I don't see why would she keep him Why would she keep the kids from seeing their dad? I do not. I think she loved his kids so much. She loved him so much. Yeah, you know, if they separated, she would want her kids to see their dad, you know? So no, I don't think, I think that's just something she said because she was upset. And some people say, you know, they don't, you know, I don't really believe that she would have kept him. But we don't even know if she really even said that, really. So anyway, he slept on the couch that night. He waits for her to go to bed. He calls NK that night. And then the next day, he sleeps in the basement. Calls NK down from the basement. But Shanann, in the meantime, is feeling so bad because she thinks, well, you know, she's not sure if it is somebody else or why he's so upset. Why is he acting like this? One of the reasons she thinks maybe could be playing a part in why he's acting that way is because that fight she had with, you know, Chris's mom. So she, you know, tries to kind of make up for it. So she sends them a picture of their son. The ultrasound picture says, here, meet your grandson. Sends him a picture, you know, trying to, you know, make things right, trying to make up for all the wrongs that she made. She's fighting for the marriage. She loves him. She wants to make this work. She's fighting for it. So, but do they respond? No. Chris's parents don't even respond. Man, sorry if I sound stuffed up. I don't normally get allergies, but I feel like my nose is all itchy. Like, I feel like I'm starting to get allergies. I've never had them in my life, really, but I don't know. Like, my ears are kind of itchy and my nose is itchy and I'm kind of stuffed up. So, sorry if I sound a little stuffed up or if I'm sniffling, but okay. So, it says how MK is all excited about the relationship and where things are going. You know, she feels like she's ready to tell her friends about Chris. So, and this is, for some reason, he says, you know, I guess NK wants to tell her friends about Chris because she's excited about, you know, the relationship and how it's progressing. But, so he knows that means he needs to delete his Facebook account. So he says, you know, he has to delete it because he doesn't want them seeing, well, he says he doesn't want them seeing how Shanann's pregnant. But how is deleting his Facebook account? I mean, they could still look up Shanann's and see that she's pregnant, but I mean, I guess, I mean, you can't delete Shanann, so. And that's another thing I forgot to bring up. I wanted to bring up before, when he says, you know, remember in the body camera he said, oh, Facebook's a great machine, you know, like. So Shanann wants to try to save her marriage and work on it, so she books a couple's weekend in the mountains. She found somebody to watch the girls. Chris actually agreed to go, but he knew that they weren't even going to be around by that time. So he agreed, but he knew it wasn't going to happen, you know. He said he just agreed to it just to satisfy her in the moment, but he knew it wasn't going to happen because he knew he was going to get rid of him. So he, you know, talks about how he was already planning how to kill them. How to kill her and the girls. He was already daydreaming about it. Daydreaming about how he was going to kill them and being with NK. How he'd just get rid of the mortgage and his big bills and his family. And thought this was the answer, which is so crazy that he thought he was going to be able to get rid of this. Like, oh, like nobody was going to wonder where they were. And like he was going to be able to run away with his mistress and, you know, have this life with her after his missing family. Where's his missing family, you know? And then, I don't know, it's silly. It's stupidity to think he's that smart to outsmart everybody. No. And he, you know, talks about how Shanann was contemplating whether she should cancel that trip to Arizona. But Chris said, no, go. He convinced her to go. So he's told her, no, don't cancel it. And that was probably another reason he agreed to go to Aspen that next weekend because, you know, he's like, you know, no, you know, I'll go to that, just go. Because he wanted, you know, that last couple of days to finish his planning and to be able to see NK. So he said, no, go ahead on your trip. And they would talk when she got home. So he was actually trying to kind of be nice and talk to her a little bit because he didn't want her to cancel. So he's trying to act like, oh, things are okay. Just go ahead and go. You know, we'll talk when you get home. We'll go to that trip to Aspen because he needed her to go. So number one, he could spend time with NK. And number two, you know, finalize his plan. And we don't know. People are still contemplating if he did kill the girls before she got home. I mean, it's still unclear, you know, because now we know he smothered them twice. Was that first time before she got home, or was it just doesn't make sense, because the way he described it was almost like she was already home, laying in bed. He went in there, smothered her, and then came in there, went back into the bedroom, and then had that argument with her. It's like so unclear, doesn't it? The way he explained it almost seems like that's how it went down, but there's no way, because they have the baby monitors. If she's in the bedroom, she would have been watching. She would have seen on the baby monitors. There's no way she would have just watched that and let that happen. There's no way. So maybe it was just the way he explained it. It seemed like that was the timeline, but maybe he did it before she got home. But then she didn't check on him when she got home. Well, I guess maybe they were sleeping. But you think she would have like at least went in there and like gave him a kiss or kind of. But maybe if they're that late of sleepers, he's just like, no, you know, it took me forever to put him down. If you go in there, you'll wake him up. So maybe he did kind of convince her to not go in there. So, but just the way he describes it, it's almost like it's in that moment where he goes in there and he comes back and Shanann was sitting in her bedroom when it happened. But it just almost seems impossible that he could have got away with that, with Shanann just sitting in her bedroom waiting to talk to him, like he kind of described it. So I don't know. There's definitely still some things that he's not being truthful on, because that still doesn't make sense to me how that happened. If it was before, I guess I could see that a little bit more, before she even came home, and him convincing her, no, that you'll wake him up, it took me forever to put him down, you know, and maybe that she didn't go in the room to check on him. Maybe she just kind of saw him through the monitors. It looked like they were sleeping to her. I guess I could see that more than I could see her just in the room, and then he goes in there and does that, and then comes back and has that argument with her, because that's when he says he comes back from the room and he has that argument, you know, that discussion argument with her. So that, to me, doesn't seem like that could have happened that way. So then it talks about those 3 chances God gave him to turn around from the affair and the plan that was in his mind. But I actually already talked about those in one of my first videos on the book, when I remember I just had those random pages. So I don't know if I'm going to go over that again. So you remember that one time he said when he was on his way to MK's house, he felt God was urging him to turn around, but he kept going. And then all of a sudden his car started to skid like he was going off the road. So that was the first one. And then, so he's saying there's like no other explanation why he started to lose control. So he thinks it was God trying to get him to turn around and stop the affair. And then he says when Chris talked to Shanann during that time when she was in North Carolina, that he like slowly just became more and more distant towards her on purpose. He ignored her calls and texts. He always would come up with excuses why he didn't answer, because he said he was trying to like build this wall because it helped him. It was so it would make him feel like less guilty, and it was easier for him to forget that he had a family. So not only, you know, he was always staying at NK, so he wasn't reminded by pictures and by his house and the memories of his house about his family. So he would, you know, sleep at NK so he could try to forget that he had a family, and ignoring texts, ignoring phone calls. It helped him to be able to ignore his family and forget he even had a family and focus on NK. And she played a part in that too. I mean, she was making sure, I feel like on purpose, you know, trying to get him to forget about his family. Like, I feel like she purposely made it that way. She purposely tried to make him forget about his family. I really do. I feel like she played a part in that. So it contemplates whether either he was trying to rid himself of the guilt by going to NKs, or he didn't have any guilt at all anyway. You know, so I personally don't think that he was going to NKs necessarily to rid himself of guilt, like he was feeling guilty for this, you know, that he would feel guilty if he stayed at home or reminded. I think it was just easier for him to kind of just focus on NK and forget he had the family. Not that he felt that guilt, because I don't feel like he feels guilt like a normal person would feel guilt, so, or remorse or anything like that. But I think it did help him to forget about his family by, you know, going over NKs every day. So it basically says how he was falling out of love with Shanann and in love with NK. But I think it was more like they had no more use for him. He found somebody new, so he's just kind of discarding them. And I do believe he was like infatuated with NK. It's not, like I said in my other videos, a love like a healthy person would feel love. But I should say an emotionally healthy person, or mentally, emotionally healthy person would feel love. But yeah, I feel like he was like infatuated with NK. And Shanann was just the obstacle. I mean, she was just in his way. And so was his kids. He needed to get rid of them. Talks about how he loved NK. He loved the way, or maybe he didn't love her, but this is what the book says. So I think this is basically what Shanann's saying, is that was he really in love with her with NK, or was he in love with the way she treated him? So this talks about how NK was just not like anyone he had ever met. He loved touching her, he loved talking with her, he loved her beauty. You know, he thought that she brought the best out in him. He was addicted to her. He always thought about her when he wasn't with her. He wanted to be with her. And it says that, you know, Shanann really wasn't one to coddle him or give in to his actions, but she realized that Chris just wasn't acting like he normally acts, so she was trying to be a little bit more attentive to him. So I feel like that was kind of a little jab at her, the way they're saying that. But so it's, you know, talks about how she's starting to really think that maybe there's somebody else. Her friends are trying to tell her, you know, what if, you know, maybe there's somebody else that Chris met, maybe he's cheating on you. So she asked him daily several times. So she did start to ask him if there was somebody else. She asked him several times, you know, and he denied it, and the only answer he would give her is he didn't know what was going on in his head. That's what he kept telling her. I don't know what's going on, man. I got to figure this out. Something's going on in my head. But he always told her, reassured her, but there's no one else. So he would always, you know, make excuses for being tired, or say that he fell asleep early. So this is probably the excuses when she was trying to call and he wasn't answering. He would say, oh, he fell asleep early, that's why he didn't answer. Or why he was so tired. He would make excuses why maybe he said he was tired, he had to get off the phone. So she trusted him. She even told one of her friends that Chris didn't have any game, you know, with women. I don't know. It was just more like she probably trusted him. I didn't think he would ever do that, and she didn't think it'd be possible for him to, you know, love somebody else. She thought he was a loyal, trustworthy guy. She had no reason to believe that he would cheat on her, because she trusted him so much, and he never gave her a reason to not trust him. At least she thought. Man, these allergies, I'm going to end that here. I'm stuffed up and I'm itchy. My nose is so itchy right now, and I'm tired. But so that's the end of chapter 7. Sorry, I feel like when I kind of rushed through the end of that, because I wanted to end this because it's getting late, and like I said, these allergies are killing me here. My nose is so itchy, I just want to itch. I don't want to do that on the video. But So I'm going to end this here. So, like I said, we are on that was the end of chapter 7. So I'm going to continue this until the end of the book. So I'll continue to go over my thoughts on the book and kind of, hopefully you guys are still enjoying it. And I guess I will talk to you next time. Bye guys. Have a good day.